There are moments when you look at a narcissistic woman, and it almost feels like nothing can touch her. She acts untouchable, powerful, and completely in control, as if no one on this planet could ever shake her confidence. But the truth is very different. There are certain types of people who can make a narcissistic woman hesitate, feel threatened, and even fear losing control. A narcissistic woman might look strong on the surface, but deep down, she reacts intensely to people who carry qualities she can't compete with. These people expose the cracks she tries so hard to hide. They trigger the insecurity she never wants anyone to see, and they make her realize she is not as powerful as she wants the world to believe. This video will show you exactly who those people are, the types of individuals a narcissistic woman becomes obsessed with, the ones she watches closely, tries to control, and secretly fears, not because they harm her, but because their strength exposes everything she tries to cover up. Understanding these types of people can help you more than you think. It can help you recognize your own strengths. It can help you understand why she treated you the way she did. And it can guide you toward becoming someone who is no longer affected by her manipulation or emotional chaos. If you've ever felt small, confused, or powerless around a narcissistic woman, this video will give you the clarity you've been needing. And as you learn about these types of people, you may start seeing the strength inside yourself. The strength that can't be controlled, can't be manipulated, and can't be broken by someone like her. 1. The person with real inner value. A narcissistic woman becomes intensely reactive toward people who carry genuine inner value. This type of value doesn't need to be announced. It doesn't need to be posted online or used as a tool to impress others. It exists naturally, and it shows through quiet confidence, solid character, and a grounded presence. When you have this kind of value, you stand out without trying. You communicate clearly without forcing anything. You move through life with a sense of stability that comes from knowing who you are. This is exactly what a narcissistic woman lacks. Her confidence is a performance. Her self-image depends on external validation. Her emotions shift depending on who is watching and what she thinks others believe about her. When she meets someone whose value is real and not constructed, she feels threatened. It confronts her with the truth she tries to avoid, that her identity is hollow. She senses that people naturally respect you or enjoy being around you, and it triggers a sense of internal panic she can't control. You may not have noticed your own strength because you weren't flaunting it, but she noticed. She noticed how others listened to you. She noticed how you carried yourself. She noticed how calm you stayed when she tried to provoke you. She noticed that your self-worth didn't come from her. These qualities made her feel small, and instead of working on herself, she tried to pull you down to her level. This may have shown up through criticism, disguised as advice. It may have shown up as jealousy when something good happened in your life. It may have shown up through attempts to lower your confidence subtly. She wanted to damage the parts of you that made her feel inferior. She wanted to make you second-guess yourself so she could feel in control. A narcissistic woman doesn't become obsessed with just anyone. She becomes obsessed with people who remind her of what she is missing. And if you were targeted by her, it's not because you lacked value. It's because your value was undeniable, and she couldn't stand living next to that mirror. 2. The person who cannot be controlled. Another type she becomes intensely obsessed with is the person who cannot be controlled. A narcissistic woman needs control the way most people need stability. Control gives her the illusion of safety. When she can predict your reactions, she feels powerful. When she can influence your emotions, she feels secure. When she knows she can manipulate you, she feels comfortable. Losing control is her greatest fear. So when you are someone who doesn't break easily, she becomes anxious. When you don't respond the way she expects, she becomes irritated. When you stay calm in situations where she wants you to panic, she feels powerless. When you walk away instead of begging for her attention, she feels abandoned. And when you show her that her approval isn't something you need to survive, she feels irrelevant. She reads independence as rejection. She interprets boundaries as disrespect. She experiences emotional stability as a threat because she cannot manipulate someone who doesn't react emotionally to her games. If you didn't chase her when she pulled away, she saw you as dangerous. If you didn't collapse when she criticized you, she saw you as defiant. If you didn't break when she tried to hurt your feelings, she saw you as uncontrollable. This is the ironic part. The more stable and grounded you were, the more unstable she became. The more you resisted her attempts to control you, the more obsessed she grew. And the more she noticed she couldn't dominate you, the more extreme her behavior became. Being uncontrollable doesn't mean being aggressive. It simply means your sense of self cannot be shaped by someone else's emotional storms. This is a strength, not a flaw, and this strength is something she could never handle. 3. The person who knows their own worth. A narcissistic woman looks for people who can be shaped, softened, or confused enough to accept less than they deserve. But when she meets someone who knows their worth, her entire strategy collapses. You may not have been perfect. You may have doubted yourself at times, but you had a foundation inside you that she could not break. Knowing your worth doesn't always mean being loud about it. Sometimes it simply means knowing the difference between respect and disrespect. It means recognizing when someone's behavior crosses the line. It means understanding that your peace matters too. When you showed signs of having these qualities, she became threatened. She wanted someone who would adapt to her moods, adjust to her demands, or tolerate her inconsistency. Instead, she found someone who eventually said no, someone who questioned her behavior, someone who refused to shrink just to keep the peace. This terrified her because it meant she could not mold you into the version she wanted. A narcissistic woman becomes obsessed with people who know their value because it ruins her entire plan. She cannot successfully manipulate someone who expects reciprocity. She cannot dominate someone who sees the game. She cannot emotionally trap someone who understands how healthy relationships work. Your sense of self-worth may have caused her to lash out, withdraw affection, or create drama. These actions weren't about you. They were attempts to destabilize you so you would forget your strength. But the very fact that you are listening to this now means she failed. Your value stayed intact, even if she tried her best to erase it. 4. The person who is respected by others. A narcissistic woman becomes extremely reactive when she meets someone who is naturally respected by others. Respect is something she desperately wants, but has never earned. She seeks admiration, but she does not understand what creates it. She wants people to see her as impressive, but she lacks the qualities that inspire genuine appreciation. So when she sees someone who receives respect because of their character, she becomes jealous. This respect can come from many places: your work ethic, your kindness, your professionalism, your calm nature, your ability to connect with others. She notices how people speak to you. She notices the way others trust your judgment. She notices when people come to you for advice. She notices how others admire you without being asked. Every one of these moments increases her insecurity, and instead of working on herself, she directs that negative energy at you. She may begin criticizing you more. She may start competing with you. She may try to make herself look superior. She may start spreading subtle negativity about you to others. All of this comes from a place of fear. Fear that your presence exposes her lack of depth. This is one of the biggest signs you were never the problem. When a narcissistic woman becomes jealous of the respect you receive, it means there was nothing wrong with you. It means you had qualities she wished she had. It means you stood for something she could never build. 5. The person who does not need her to be happy. A narcissistic woman expects the people around her to revolve their lives around her feelings. She wants to be the center of someone's emotional world because it gives her a sense of importance she cannot create on her own. When she meets someone who is capable of being happy without her, she feels deeply threatened. You may not have realized this, but your independence is one of the biggest reasons she became obsessed with you. When you had your own routines, she noticed. When you had your own goals, she noticed. When you had moments of joy that didn't involve her, she noticed. Every time you created happiness from your own life, it reminded her that she had no real control over your emotional world. A narcissistic woman needs to feel irreplaceable. Your ability to live fully, with or without her, took away the illusion that she was the source of your joy. Instead of inspiring her to become better, it made her feel useless. It exposed the truth that your life would continue with or without her presence. This is something she cannot tolerate. She may have tried to guilt you for spending time alone. She may have criticized your hobbies. She may have accused you of not caring enough. These reactions weren't about you being distant. They were about her losing her emotional leverage. When she cannot control your happiness, she loses the one thing that made her feel powerful. Your dependence. Your independence was not a flaw. It was the part of you that protected your identity. And this is exactly why she tried to break it. 6. The genuinely kind person. A narcissistic woman may pretend to be kind, but real kindness exposes the difference immediately. Genuine kindness has no agenda. It does not seek validation. It is not performed for attention. But her version of kindness is conditional. It is selective. It is performed only when she wants something in return. When she encounters someone who is naturally kind, it forces her to confront her own emotional emptiness. She sees the way you treat people with respect. She sees your patience, your empathy, your warmth. She sees the quiet strength in your compassion, and she cannot compete with it. Deep inside, a narcissistic woman knows she is not built like that. She knows her emotions are shallow. She knows her compassion is limited. She knows her relationships are transactional. Your kindness triggers her because it highlights the differences she tries to hide. You have depth, and she doesn't. This is why she may have mocked your empathy, called you too soft, or treated your goodness as a weakness. She wasn't rejecting your kindness. She was jealous of it. She was jealous of how others responded to it. She was jealous of how naturally it flowed from you. She was jealous of how it made you loved in a way she could never duplicate. Your kindness was never the problem. Her insecurity was. 7. The person who can see through her. This is the type she fears the most. A narcissistic woman can manipulate many people because she knows how to put on a performance. She knows how to read the room, adjust her image, and appear charming when it benefits her. But when she meets someone who sees through her, her entire strategy collapses. You may not have called out everything she did, but you noticed. You noticed the inconsistencies. You noticed the manipulation. You noticed the shifting stories. You noticed the emotional games. She could sense you picking up on her patterns, and it made her feel exposed. Being seen is terrifying for someone who hides behind a false identity. She begins to panic when she realizes she cannot fool you the way she fools others. She worries that you understand her motives. She fears that you recognize the emotional tactics she uses. She becomes anxious when she senses that her mask doesn't work on you. This often leads to two reactions. She either tries harder to impress you, or she becomes aggressive and attempts to push you away. Both reactions come from the same fear. You can see who she really is, and she doesn't want to face that truth. If she treated you with disrespect, it wasn't because you misunderstood her. It was because you understood her too clearly. Understanding the deeper impact. Being close to a narcissistic woman leaves deeper marks than most people realize. The confusion you felt was real. The emotional exhaustion was real. The moments when you questioned your own memory, judgment, or worth were not accidents. They were the result of being pulled into a dynamic built on insecurity, control, and emotional instability. The impact lingers because you spent so much time trying to understand someone who was never willing to understand you back. You tried to solve problems she created. You tried to repair damage she denied. You tried to hold together a connection she was actively sabotaging. This creates emotional tension that doesn't disappear the moment she is gone. Understanding the deeper impact does not mean blaming yourself. It means recognizing the weight of what you carried. You adjusted your behavior to avoid conflict. You shrank parts of yourself to avoid upsetting her. You silenced your needs because you believed it would create peace. This takes a toll on anyone. One of the hardest parts is accepting that the relationship was never balanced. You were giving stability to someone who thrived on chaos. You were offering loyalty to someone who used emotions as tools. You were giving patience to someone who saw it as an opportunity to manipulate. When you look back now, you may feel frustrated that you didn't walk away sooner. But that frustration is a sign of growth, not failure. The deeper impact also shows up in how you treat yourself now. You may feel more cautious. You may doubt your instincts. You may fear repeating the same experience again. These reactions are normal. They are not weaknesses. They are your mind trying to protect you after emotional harm. Seeing the impact clearly is the first step toward moving beyond it. Becoming stronger and moving forward. There comes a point when you realize that the person who tried to break you did not succeed. The fact that you are here, seeking clarity, already shows strength. Moving forward is not about forgetting what happened. It is about understanding it in a way that gives you power instead of taking it away. You become stronger when you stop trying to prove your worth to someone who could never appreciate it. You grow when you learn that your value never depended on her approval. You reclaim control when you stop letting her behavior define how you see yourself. You move forward by setting boundaries that protect your peace. You move forward by choosing people who respect your emotions. You move forward by trusting that your empathy is a gift, not a weakness. You move forward by honoring the parts of yourself that survived the chaos. Strength is not loud. Strength is not dramatic. Strength is the quiet decision to choose your own well-being, even when it feels unfamiliar. Strength is the ability to rebuild your confidence piece by piece. Strength is recognizing that you were targeted, not because you lacked something, but because you had qualities she could never create. Your future relationships will benefit from the clarity you gained. Your self-respect will rise because you know what you will no longer tolerate. Your emotional stability will return as you reconnect with the parts of yourself that were overshadowed by her chaos. You are not the same person you were before this experience. You are wiser. You are calmer. You are stronger than you realize. And you deserve relationships that honor that strength. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, it means you were never the problem. You were dealing with someone who reacted to your strengths as if they were threats. Your confidence, your independence, your kindness, and your clarity were not weaknesses. They were the qualities that exposed her deepest insecurities. Now you have a clearer understanding of the dynamic. You have the knowledge to protect yourself. You have the awareness to notice red flags sooner. And you have the strength to walk away from situations that drain your spirit. Your journey from this point forward is about choosing peace, choosing clarity, and choosing relationships that align with who you truly are. There is nothing wrong with having a soft heart. There is nothing wrong with being kind. There is nothing wrong with wanting connection. What matters is giving those parts of yourself to people who can value them. You deserve relationships built on respect, stability, and honesty. You deserve love that feels safe. You deserve to feel like yourself again, and you will. And as always, because YouTube's algorithm tends to favor videos with strong engagement, if you feel this video has brought you value, a simple like and a quick subscribe would mean so much. It not only helps this message reach more people who need it, but also ensures you will never miss the next video that could make a difference in your journey. Thanks all.